All right, looks like we are live. So, thanks everybody for tuning in. I have Mark from WSForm with me. We met about 2-3 weeks ago, not so long ago, and it has been a wonderful working with Mark for last few weeks, and to be honest, he has been a beast in this integration and completed everything. I don't know, Miss. We joke that we work 24/7, you and I, but I think it's more you than I.
Well, yeah,
uh,
we've had a lot of conversations at my midnight and your midnight, I think. So,
yeah. We are just, I think, 12 hours apart. But thanks for being here, Mark.
yeah, thank you for having me. I
Very
appreciate
happy
it.
to have you. So the agenda for today's live session is very, very straightforward. We want to know, or our audience wants to know, what is WS Form. Maybe speak a little bit about your background, where did this idea came from, and how did you come up about creating a form plugin, which is kind of already a saturated market, right, per se.
Yeah.
And then how did you make maybe a little bit like tips on all the product developers out there on how they can do the same in another category, for example. So yeah, go ahead, take it away.
Yeah. So I've had a web agency for about 27 years now. So I was, back in the days of Netscape Navigator 1, using tables and uh, transparent GIFs to make things move around the screen. We've come a long way since then. And I want to say probably about 10 years ago now, one of my colleagues that was working with me went to a WordCamp and we got familiar with WordPress. So we're, fairly new to the product compared to some people in the market. And I had always had kind of a licensing business on the side. I used to sell wedding website license software and wanted to get back into that more. And we decided to have a go at building a WordPress plugin. So about 5-6 years ago, started building WSForm and really didn't want to come out with the next big thing. We weren't looking to be the next Facebook or something like that, but we wanted to have a look at the plugin market that was out there and just see where there was an opportunity to maybe do something better, to focus it more towards developers. And one of the things that our team were frustrated with was building forms. We were doing a lot of custom development around forms. We were finding it fairly challenging to style forms, and we were usually using 2, 3, 4 plugins just to get one form to do what we wanted it to do, and thought maybe there's a better way that could be done.
So that was like
And
a couple of different form plugins, or a form plugin plus add-ons.
plus add-ons, yeah. So I think we have install plugins for like signature fields and things like that, and we were building lots and lots of client sites back then. That's what our agency did. And so we sat down around the table and then said, okay, let's build a form plugin, and thought, well, this will take 6 months, and 5 years later here we are still building it. So but yeah, very saturated part of WordPress, as you know. But I think we've really found a niche in terms of being focused on developers, agencies, and really building a system that you can rapidly build and test forms with as well. So what we're about is the ability to build a form very, very quickly. So we have a lot of dynamic templates that will build a form for you. And that will then enable you can then tweak that, adjust it, make it responsive, do whatever you want with that form. But those templates really speed up that initial process of building a form. And then we have a debug console that enables you to complete forms in one click. So you can click on our debug console, hit the populate button, and it fills the form out for you, which is a huge time saver. It's one
I
of the
don't think I
things.
haven't seen that functionality in any of the
Yeah,
form plugins. Yeah.
yeah. It
Sounds
was
so simple to implement, though, but
it was one
it
of the
was.
first things we built because we knew we'd be testing tens of thousands of forms, which we have, and every time we do that, we would obviously have to fill that form out and test it that way manually. So by having that debug console, it doesn't just fill out the form; it also shows you what's going on with that form, any events that are occurring with the form. It shows you any errors that may have occurred. It lets you reset forms on the page. So it's really a developer focused. It's almost a bit like the browser inspector. It sits at the bottom of the
So
browser.
your plugin is more developers focused, is that right?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
means, is that a good thing? Means, because you get a lot of designers and maybe webmasters or business owners using such plugins.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a combination of agencies using it, freelancers, and web developers as well, web designers. So yes, you can build a basic contact us form with it. You know, we've got templates for that out of the box, and it'll do that kind of thing. We even have a free light edition for doing that in the plugin repo. But if you want to do something more complicated, that's really where WSForm comes into its own. So building like calculation forms and things like that. But I think one of our strongest points is our ability to integrate in with so many different third-party platforms. We've got about 70 different integrations, of which now InstaWP is one of those. You and I had a conversation on the phone about, hey, we want to improve our demo, so we want to use InstaWP for that, which we're really pleased with. And as we were talking, you hinted that you had an API. And if someone says API to me, then I'm all over it. And
there is some developer, the nerd inside us basically gets alive, right? And
that's
I
right.
totally see it. So I think without further ado, why don't we jump right into let's see what WSForm is all about, and let's move into it. Yeah, so I'm going to add your shared screen to the stage.
Okay. Yeah, so should we talk about the InstaWP integration specifically, and we'll show...
Let's just maybe see how WSForm behaves, maybe set up a basic form, and then we can jump into the integration.
Okay, yeah, so this, let's just build a basic contact us form to begin with, just so you can see how this works. So we're the only fully responsive form builder out there. At the bottom of the screen here, you'll see that there's a responsive breakpoint selector. So you can actually preview the form at different breakpoints. If you're using a framework such as Bootstrap or Foundation, it actually outputs native HTML for those frameworks as well. But we have a fallback framework which most of our customers use.
What about Gutenberg, means the block editor?
Yeah,
does
so
it
we
work
have...
well with that?
Yes, it does. Yeah, we have a block for Gutenberg, and we're also integrated in with all the other site builders, Elementor, Divi, Beaver Builder, and some of the more advanced site builders such as Oxygen, Breakdance, Bricks as well. So we have widgets, blocks, whatever they're called, with those site builders, all the major ones that are out there. So it's a fully responsive editor. You can resize fields, you can resize sections, you can copy sections. If you want to do a multi-set form, you can just create tabs at the top here. You can actually drag fields between tabs. So if you've got a very long field, you can break that out.
Nice.
You could also drag sections between tabs too. So if we just copy that section there, and we'll preview that so you can see it. So this is our debug console that we were talking about earlier. So what that does...
Looks a lot like the Chrome developers tools. Nice.
Yeah. It was kind of designed around that to keep it familiar with people. And if we hit populate here, you'll see when I click that, it fills that form out for you. So every time I hit populate, I get different data in there. So you can see how quick it is to actually develop forms with this.
I imagine it happens all in JavaScript at the client side.
Yeah, and it's all context sensitive as well. So you'll notice email addresses have email addresses in them, phone numbers have phone numbers. And if we do populate and submit on that, click on it, it populates it, submits it in one go. So it's super quick to do stuff.
I think this is one of the craziest thing I've seen in a while.
Yeah, now we also have dynamic templates. This is kind of where WP comes in, but you'll see here that we've got the different post types that are registered in WordPress. You'll notice this one has ACF on it, so it's detected that we have ACF fields installed. If I click on Use Template, it's now building a form for me. And it'll pull in all the custom fields that I have in ACF. So we've got all the usual fields to create a post. Below that, all the fields that I have registered for that particular post type. And you'll notice also it supports repeaters as well. So again, we preview that. You'll see if I hit populate again, everything is filled out again. So
what are the normal, typical use cases of such forms for the people who don't know about this dynamic forms?
It's anything and everything, really. So we have people that use it to create posts. We have users that use WSForm to create product integration with WooCommerce. So WooCommerce is one of. Let me just go to that site so you can see it. So we have a WooCommerce add-on as well. So people use WSForm to customize products in WooCommerce. So you can see here we've actually got an example of customizing a product here.
So this is built with WSForm.
Yeah. So at the top
nice.
here, this T-shirt up to the size selector here is a regular WooCommerce product, and below that is actually a WSForm form below that. And you can see that as I change the color here, the word commerce is changing on the T-shirt from white to black. That's actually using our conditional logic. So the conditional logic in WSForm is very, very in depth. There's a lot that you can do with it. So if we go into a field here, this is just a regular text field. And what we've done is we've taken the HTML5 spec and just ripped it apart. So all the attributes that you would have for all those core form fields are available with settings in here. So for example, on a select field, if we drag a select field onto the form and we'll edit that, you've got all the usual stuff you'd expect, like required, show label, hidden, multiple, etc., and size. But we've got some more advanced features, for example, like enabling select to on a select dropdown, enabling Ajax. So a lot of the functionality that you would have to write some custom JavaScript for is built into WSForm.
That's nice.
And we've made sure that when a form loads, it's only loading the JavaScript that it needs for the particular features you have on your form. So there's not a huge library that loads. We only load the bits of JavaScript that are needed based on what you've done.
Basically a modular kind of architecture inside, which loads the required components whenever is required. If I don't need a select to, it doesn't load select to.
Correct. Yeah. So everything is dynamically enqueued. Yeah. And on a select field, you've got cool stuff like being able to load data in from presets. So if you've got, say, countries, we can pull that data down from our CDN. That pulls that all in. The other cool thing is you can actually download data as a CSV file. You can even drag a CSV file into this select dropdown. You can do things like auto opt group on a select field. So you see it just kind of goes on and on. You get deeper and deeper into these fields and start to realize all the functionality that it has. But if I save that and preview it, you'll then see that select dropdown. Actually, you can't see it because I'm sharing my monitor. Sorry, my actual browser. But that select dropdown would have opt groups within it that would enable you to split that out by region. And then we've got some more advanced fields as well as the regular fields. So you've got things like a signature field. We have integration with Google Maps, Google Address, Google Routing, so you can actually do routes between A and B. All the usual spam protection that you would expect to see, like reCAPTCHA, HCAPTCHA, turnstile. And then we've also got integration in with things like Stripe, PayPal, which I know is one of the things we're going to talk about in terms of being able to use that as a gateway. So all of this functionality that we're looking at can be combined in with our InstaWP integration. And one of the other things that I think is quite important to mention in terms of the InstaWP integration is our actions. So what you can do with actions are anything that runs whenever a form is saved or submitted. So it could be sending an email, it could be showing a message, it could be sending a message to a Slack channel, or pushing an object into Salesforce, whatever it may be that you want to do with any of the integrations that we have. And there's about 70 of those. So once a site is created using our integration with InstaWP, you can then run any other actions that you want in order to notify you or your customer about that site being created. So you can use the built-in InstaWP email notification if you want, or if you want to do something more custom, you can actually use our send email action and send the email that way. So it really opens up a lot of different ways that you can communicate with people in conjunction with creating and spinning up a site in InstaWP.
I think that was one of the biggest takeaway for me when we started to do this integration, that we do have a very nice way to send emails and things like that.
Yes.
But then if somebody spins up a demo, you can actually send out a Slack message or run any webhook or something. We do webhooks as well, but you get the point, right? It is like n number of different combinations which can be done using action is what really excited me. And I see that you have made a little bit of segue into the integration talk already.
Yeah.
So why don't we jump right into the integration?
Sure.
Maybe I
Yeah.
can just give a little bit of introduction about
Yeah, that'd be
what
great.
InstaWP is and basically what this integration is all about.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can take it away from
Sure.
there.
Yeah, go for
So
it.
just a bit, I'm a little bit late, but I'm just give introduction about myself and Insta.
Yeah.
So I've been working on InstaWP for last 1.5 years or so, and we are backed by Automatic. And the main thing why I started InstaWP is to make it easier for somebody to use to create a WordPress site. So that was the most basic thought which we had, and it was obviously loved by a lot of folks. That's why we are. Let's fast forward today. We are what we are today because it was loved by so many, and it actually filled a gap in the market where you have your local tools, you have your hosting panels, but there is nothing in between, right? Maybe kind of a dev environment, and that's what we are trying to be kind of place ourselves in. So yeah, and I guess one of the thing which a lot of people asked is, can I create my product demos as you did and many other folks before you asked? So we built that functionality right inside the dashboard. I think we're going to see that in a bit, and that also became a hit. I think that is one of our most popular kind of product line inside the dashboard. Excuse me. So with that, let's go in and let's see what you have, Mark.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and I must say, I think I first used InstaWP maybe a year ago, and when I went back into it, I was just amazed by the work that you've done on this product. It really is phenomenal.
Thank you.
And for a product demo platform, I mean, obviously you can use this integration for lots of different things, but for our use case in building a demo, it's been absolutely brilliant. I love the fact that we can sync the form up automatically. Sync the demo up automatically every 4 hours, and it just updates itself and self-maintains it. So saves me a lot of time. It just kind of does everything automatically, which is nice. But yeah, so essentially, the way that the integration works is you would create a site in InstaWP and configure that the way that you want. And InstaWP obviously has a lot of different options for doing that. You can click on Add New. You can actually pre-populate that with recommended plugins that you have. I'm pleased that we have WSForm Lite included in that. And once you've created your site, you would then create a template based upon that site. And we have a couple. We have one for our main demo, and then we have another template that we use for our knowledge base demo. And the difference between those is the main demo site that we have lasts for 14 days. And then we have a knowledge base demo, which is really just to show it working, only lasts for about half an hour. So it's nice that you're able to set up different templates with different configurations. And I think personally, the template feature of InstaWP is probably the most powerful way of creating sites with the integration. And then within WSForm itself, it's very, very simple to set up. So you would create an API key in InstaWP, and there are instructions in the knowledge base on how to do that. And once you've got it connected, you will then get an InstaWP tab in our Add New page. And what that does is it pulls down any templates that you've got in InstaWP. You'll see the 2 templates here. And then we also have a template selector template, which actually enables the end user to choose which template they want to use. So maybe you've got 3 or 4 different demos that you want people to be able to use, and use like a drop down to use that. And I'll show you that in a moment. And then there's also a from scratch option, which literally lets you build a site and choose the PHP version and the WordPress version, and it just spins a basic site up. But let's use one of these templates that we've got. So we'll look at this KD demo here. So we'll hit use template. So now WSForm builds a form for you. So you really don't have to do much work to get the form created. And this form can be fully edited as it would any other form. So you can resize these, move things around. You can even remove the opt-in if you want. You could add additional fields to this, like a first name, last name, and capture additional information. You could even put a signature field on here if you wanted. Whatever you want to do with this form, you can do.
Yep.
And if we go to actions, so again, this is anything that runs whenever the form is submitted or saved.
And these actions are somewhat automatically populated
Yes,
because
correct.
of InstaWP integration.
Correct. Yeah. So this is a specific set of actions that we add for InstaWP. You'll notice that 2 of them are actually disabled. And we've done that because out of the box, InstaWP sends an email for you.
And does the redirect as well. And then if you
yeah,
want to use yours, and then so
yep,
I
correct.
think
Yeah,
that
so we
is
stick with
very, very
InstaWP by default,
handy.
but if you want to modify that, you can play with these. So if we go through each of these, if we open up this create InstaWP action, you'll see that we're using this template. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this opt-in field here as the opt-in that we'll send to InstaWP. So just to explain that, in InstaWP, you can basically pass an email address through to a third-party marketing platform if you want to. So you can use this opt-in to do that. And then we're mapping our email field to the InstaWP email field so that InstaWP can then pass that through to wherever you want to. And you'll see here we've got an option to wait until the site is created. So what that'll do is when they fill the form out, we actually wait for a signal back from InstaWP to say, hey, the site is fully functional and ready to go. So there's just a small period of time where it's spinning the site up, it's adding the plugins and doing whatever else it needs to do. And that function there just makes sure that when the user sees the message to say, yeah, your site's complete, that when they click on the link, that it's all fully ready to go. So you can disable that if you want to. It's entirely up to you. So we'll save and close that. And in this instance, all we're doing is we're just going to show a message. And if I expand this out just to show everybody, so we're going to show a message on the screen, and it's going to say your site was successfully created. And we then use these variables here to actually show the user what their auto login is. I think you call that a magic login, which enables you to just in one click get through to the admin on that page. It also shows them their username and password as well. So it's as simple as that, really. And if you wanted to use our email system to send a notification either to you or to the end user, again, you can do that. And you would just use those same variables in the email content. And those are all listed on our knowledge base article. But you'll see that this is all created for you, so you don't really need to remember those. You can just enable and disable these as you need them. And then the last option we have here is the redirect, which again is disabled by default, but you can enable it if you want to. And that just redirects to that auto login URL. So once the site's created, it just takes them straight to
I think
that.
this variable thing is really powerful. Means you just need to attach that hash. And is there a list of variables, or how do I get this list?
Yeah, so if you go to our knowledge base, I'll show you that. So let's go to WSForm.com. So if you just go to our knowledge base at the top here, and then just do a search for InstaWP, here's our knowledge base article. And there's actually a video tutorial there on how to set this all up.
That's very
nice. And then at the bottom, there's a list of the variables that you can use. So those variables can be used in emails, they can be used in a redirect, they can even be used in any of our other third-party integrations. So if you wanted to store that in Salesforce, for example, you can map that URL across and you've got that stored in Salesforce. So you can do pretty much anything you like with those variables.
Yeah, we have got a few requests, like, can you do MailerLite integration? Can you do HubSpot integration? And so with WSForm, yes, we can, because this is more of a Zapier for forms, right? Where everything is right. This is amazing.
Everything is there. Yeah. So these are the integrations that we have. I'll just make that a bit bigger on the screen. So you can basically push content to any of these third-party integrations. So MailChimp, MailerLite, as you were saying, MailPoet, CRM platforms like Groundhog, Salesforce, HubSpot, whatever you need to move it across to. But you can also, if you have a specific web endpoint that you want to use, we've also got the ability to use a webhook, which I know you guys have as well. But with ours, you can put in a URL as an endpoint, and then you can use field mapping here and custom mapping to actually map those variables across to any endpoint that you want. So really, the sky's the limit. You can even run WordPress hooks as well. So you can do run WordPress hook, and you can actually put it through and send the data through your own custom PHP and do whatever you like with it.
Nice.
So yeah, sky's the limit with it, really. So yeah, once the form's very simple in this case, and you would then embed that on the page wherever you want. I'm not going to run this one because I've got all those funny actions going on now. But let's see if we can get it to work. Let's just get rid of the 2 actions that I added there. We'll save that, close it, and then preview it. And I'll just put in a test email address here. This is obviously a very basic theme, but you would make this look pretty on your site. So there you go. So it's basically sent the details off to InstaWP. InstaWP has come back and said, hey, site's ready to go. And you'll see here that those variables have been replaced with the full URLs to those sites. Again, the layout, the look of this and how that reacts is entirely up to you. And if I go into my email, then I can't share that because I'm actually just sharing my thing, but I've got the email here that has all the details in it. And if we then click on that, and let's click on that link, you'll now see we're going off to InstaWP, and there's our demo built. So it's as simple as that, really. And it just gives you all the dynamic flexibility of all the actions. You can also incorporate all of our conditional logic on there, calculations, any of the other features that we have in WSForm around building those sites in InstaWP. So that's one method of doing that, where you're using the templates. The other option, I'll just show you that quickly, was actually doing it as with a template selector. And the way that works is we've actually built what's called a data source specific to InstaWP. And you'll see on this one, we've got a radio field called template. And if we edit that and go to the radio options tab, you'll see that we've got a data source of InstaWP templates. And what that does is it pulls down the templates that you have configured in InstaWP. And so if I just save that, and we'll go to preview. So now you can actually choose which template you want. So you may have 4 different templates that you want to offer an end user. And you don't have to use that data source. You can actually just manually put those templates in if you want, because maybe you've got 50 different templates, but you only want to have 3 of those available. So it's totally flexible on how you want to do that. And that's just one way of enabling.
This is amazing.
Yeah, just enable people to
you can just actually, I think the next step for maybe as a creator, if you are like a WordPress theme seller or a template seller, you can actually create a list of templates and then just have that as a part of the selectors. And I think you can also match that with a price point, and then put Stripe or PayPal in front of it, and then essentially make a way for people to buy a templated site. With you can actually include an exporter, like a duplicator plugin or whatever, right? And that behaves as if that you have sold a site instead of a zip file or whatever, right? So that I think that is unheard of so far, and with our integration, it can be amazing.
Yeah, and the way you do that is if you look on the right-hand side here, we actually have e-commerce fields, and you could drag across a price radio, and if we open that up, go to radios here. So these would basically be your template options here, and then you can assign a price to them. So they could all be the same price, or you could put different prices on those. And then based upon which one is selected, that would basically become the price of the cart. And then you can add our Stripe integration to that, or PayPal, and enable people to check out. And that Stripe payment effectively becomes a gateway. It won't run the InstaWP site generation unless that payment has actually gone through. So yeah, that opens up all kinds of other possibilities, doesn't it?
I would love to see. Would love to see in future how the community builds and what kind of things.
And then the last option is the from scratch option. So with that one, very, very simple. You can just, again, it builds a form for you. And this just slightly configures that InstaWP action differently. And on this one, you can choose the WordPress version, the PHP version. You can assign it to a team as well. And one of the other things you can do, which I think is more powerful than choosing the WordPress version than the PHP version, is to actually choose an InstaWP configuration. So I don't know if you want to explain what a configuration is in InstaWP.
Yep, we would touch base that in a moment.
Okay,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just another way of building sites. If you don't want to use a template of a pre-built site, build a site from scratch, then you can actually use that with this API. So really what we've done is we've taken every aspect of the API available from InstaWP and made that available within this interface. I think we've covered pretty much everything that we can do with the API.
I think one more
currently.
thing is how do people buy the package WSForm with the
Sure.
integration of InstaWP?
Yeah, so pretty straightforward. So WSForm itself has 3 different flavors. We have a personal edition and a freelance edition and an agency edition. So the personal is a 1-site license, and you can buy our add-ons a la carte. And then we have a freelance edition, which is a 5-site license, and that comes with some of the most popular add-ons. And then we have an agency edition, which is basically everything. It's unlimited sites, every add-on that we have. And at the moment, the InstaWP integration, let's just scroll down and get to it, is free because we've just launched it. So if you want to grab it for free with WSForm right now, you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, that includes all the templates.
Does the InstaWP add-on work with the free version of WSForm?
No, it only works for the Pro Edition. So our add-ons are designed for the Pro Edition of WSForm. So you would need one of those editions, and then you can just download the InstaWP for free.
Makes sense.
And then you're ready to go. And we're doing a special offer right now. I think the coupon code is InstaWP20. If it's not, I'll add that. But you can get 20% off any of those packages. So yeah, really good value for now. Get that $0 in add-on while you can.
Yeah, this was amazing, Mark. Thanks for the lovely walkthrough.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
very detailed kind of integration options you have put there. So I think the next step for me to take it a little bit, maybe a 5 to 10 minutes walkthrough of InstaWP.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
talk
That would be great.
about the other end of the setup. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and probably remove yours for a moment. Yep. So share screen. All right. So my screen should be on the. Is it there already?
Yeah, got it.
All right. So so I think most of the things you have already explained. So I'll just touch base upon some of the things which needed a little bit more explanation. So I think the first thing which we talked about was creating a site, right? So if you click on Add New, then automatically you get a list of plugins and plugins right now, and a couple of other options. One of the cool options which we have is location of the servers, right? So if your customers are near to your, like let's say in Europe, or GDPR is an issue, so that can be a very nice option. Another thing which we didn't talk about much is the configuration part. So right now what you see here is basically the default one. So if I go and choose a PHP 8.1 or 8.2, I need to do that every single time. So what I can do is go to Add New, and then add a new configuration which says PHP 8.1 and add it. And what you need to do is just change the PHP version to 8.1 and save it. And not only that, you can do a lot of other things. For example, if you want to reserve the sites automatically, if you want to, for example, check the WP debug box, if you want to have a static username for WP admin.
And reserved means that you can't delete that, right? It's a locked site.
It's a locked site. You need to unreserve it, and then it will be deleted. So by default, because InstaWP is meant for temporary sites, and reserve is like an extra step. And I think the WSForm slug. Can you remind me again? It's this one, the free one.
I can't remember.
So let's go to the slug. We just need the slug.
Yeah. Oh, just WSForm. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So WSForm, just hit enter, and then save it again. So now if I go back to my site screen, and choose this configuration which I just created from the drop down, and automatically the PHP version is chosen, the reserved site is switched on,
So
and
cool.
one plugin will be pre-installed when I click on create site.
Yeah.
And creation. So this is, as I told right in the beginning, that this is one of the main reason why I created InstaWP is to make sure that we have an easy way to launch a WordPress site, and which we do now.
It's so incredibly quick as well. It's amazing.
Yeah, and that's some people ask how do you do that? So that's our secret sauce,
Yeah.
obviously. But under the hood, it's maybe we can have another session where we can talk about the technicalities of it. But here you go. Means you have everything all set up for you, and you have like inbuilt database editor, inbuilt code editor, which are like somewhat not easy to set up easily in other platforms or not present at all. So, for example, the code editor is actually a fully functional Sublime kind of editor.
That's really
you
cool.
can just edit everything, right? So,
I also love how you have the ability to SSH and SFTP into sites as well. I mean, it's all ready to go.
Yeah, so you just click on the site name, click on SFTP, and then just boom, 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 everything is
you can upload
right
your
there.
keys.
Yeah, you can. So this is also, this as a developer, right? When you build these platforms, you are actually building it for you, right? You're not building it for any. And I think you understand more than anybody else, right? So because I was just fed up with all those steps, right? All I needed is just a toggle, which we have now. So
it made it really easy for me. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to enable email for users, because I know that's disabled by default, obviously, for security, but we wanted to enable our customers to send forms, confirmation emails. So I was able to build a must-use plugin really easily using all the features that you have. It was so easy to set up and get going.
Yeah, and if you want to use like an email thingy, we have integration with Mail Trap.
Yeah.
So Mail Trap is like a developer-friendly, obviously you know that, to send emails. And when you switch this on, you just need to enter your API keys, and then you can switch it on for per site, and boom, right there you go. So once the site is created, you have obviously a lot of options. One of the options which we use in this demo was save as template. When you save this as a template, let's say WSForm live demo, excuse me, and then click on the shared icon here. And this is one of the premium feature which we have is the instant part, where the site from the template spins up very, very quickly. It takes a while to warm up, and once it warms up, you can spin up really, really quickly. I think that's one of the success elements when you go to like your demo site and it gets created, spun up really quickly. Helps boost conversion rates, helps like kind of your value prop for the product is not lost. Otherwise, just people are waiting for the demo to be created, and which is not an ideal situation to be in. And that's it. So if you go to the edit option in the template, you will get a bunch of options. For example, one of the things which I think we should work upon is the gallery part, because you can actually upload screenshots, and those screenshots can be probably pulled by the API which you have integrated, and then show that as a screenshot into your like list of templates, right?
Cool. Yeah, that would be great.
And then a couple of advanced options, such as setting the lifetime of a demo site, disallowing file modification. This is, I think, one of the popular options.
Doesn't say what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't say what it is, but what it does is if you switch it on, that it doesn't allow people to upload new plugins or use the theme or plugin editor. This makes your demos secure, so that nobody's downloading a zip file, right? And that helps a lot. You can auto log into a specific page inside the admin panel, which
that's really cool. We use that feature to go to a welcome page, so it makes when you hit that demo initially, it just looks great.
So I think with that, maybe we can just touch upon the demo which you have already on your site, which is just a big button on top, And as you can already see that Cloudflare Turnstile is already enabled, right? Which is not there with us. We use reCAPTCHA.
Correct,
and then it's just about options, right? And it's not only just about options. I think it's more about flexibility. And like this drop down right here, we don't have that, and you can build that with WSForm. And that's the beauty of integration, right? So let's say InstaWP and click on Start Demo. And this is, I think, well styled.
Oh, it doesn't like you.
Cloudflare. I need to.
I think that's
myself.
I think it's saying that you can't create a demo with your email address. Your system's coming back with that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You might have to put
maybe different email ID then.
Yeah, let's try a different one.
All right. Yeah, the demo gods are never happy during demos.
No, they're not.
I think we have made our point. So let's go to the next tab, which is basically configuring this. And once you have done that, so you'll get a shareable link. In your case, in case of WSForm, you get an API key to integrate with each other. And then when you share this link to somebody, they should be able to open this launch kind of a landing page and enter an email ID and proceed. So that's it. And this amount of time which it takes can be reduced by the instant template feature. And once this demo is built, you can actually go to the templates tab and see the basically statistics of who has built what, kind of a really nice graph and a tabular structure, and you can export this.
Yeah, and one of the other nice features that we've been using is if a customer creates a demo site, they have an issue with something within the demo, maybe they need some help creating a form, we can actually log in from here and log into their demos if we're them, and then we can make modifications for them and then come back to them. So it's really nice that you can access all those demos as well.
Yeah, and then you can figure out what customers are doing. And one other thing which we are working with product companies is that can we get some like telemetry data on how much demo was used for the product, so that can give you like maybe more warmed up leads that can help a lot. So and apart from this, this was just about like building a site, building a template. And then there are other options like monetizing a template. We have connects option where you can connect your existing live site and then get a copy of it on Insta. So you can create a staging site from, and we have a plugin for that. Go to the WordPress repo and you will get that plugin. So this is the plugin, and you just install it and it will create a copy of your live site on InstaWP. You can manage your live site remotely as well. So you can like purge cache, you can install plugins, themes remotely. You can connect your hosting accounts. So we support a bunch of hosting partners.
Yeah, so, that's really cool.
Yeah, bunch. So the example, RunCloud, Cloudways, Pressable, SpinUp, all these supported providers already there. So the meaning you don't need to go to their panel to actually spin up a new site. Or you can, if you have an Insta site, you have the migrate option to migrate to one of these hosting providers in just few clicks.
Yeah, and more hosting providers coming.
Sorry?
More hosting providers coming, I presume. Yeah.
Yeah, so Rocket.net and other hosting providers are coming soon as well.
Yeah, we use Rocket.net for our hosting. It's really, really good.
Yeah, they're really good. So, and then this migrate option gives you an option to migrate an Insta site to any site in the world, even though the hosting provider is not supported. You just need to enter your target website, which can be a blank WordPress site. Or if you link your hosting account, we can auto create new sites and move Insta to your hosting account.
Yeah.
So the idea is for us to actually provide you or mostly agencies and freelancers a way to build a site, deploy and then just have like a build tool rather than building it on a hosting panel or building it on your local environment. And this gives like a live URL for you to share with your customers very, very easily. One of the things which we didn't talk about can be used in your context is connecting a site with a Git repository. What happens is then every time you push a new update, the site gets automatically updated. And remember in the beginning you said that template gets synced with the site with like let's say every 4 hours. So you have the full pipeline. You push a code to the master branch that connects to the site, that connects to the template, and that has the demo spun up. So you don't actually have to log into Insta to keep your demos updated.
And you don't have to wait 4 hours. You can go in there and manually sync it if you want to.
You can just pull in.
Which is great. So if I want to push something quickly, I can just go in there, hit that sync button. The sync takes a matter of seconds. It's crazy. And off it goes. Then all of the future demos that are created use that version, which is great.
By the way, the demo worked, and I've got a link to my email. All right. So I think this was amazing, Mark. This was really helpful for our viewers, and we have got a lot of joining on live. You have got shout out from Faz, WP Wool, and other folks. I really appreciate your time. Is there anything you wanted to add before we end this call?
No, I don't think so. And I think we'll post this video in our WordPress community group in Facebook and let everybody see it. And if anybody has any questions, they can get to us through WSForm.com. You can follow us on Twitter with WS_form. My personal, I guess X handle now, right, is Westguard, WESTGUARD.
Thank you. And you can find me on Twitter as well, Vikas Programmer. Or you can just find us on InstaWP.com and just click on that support. And we are always, we try to be always online. But thank you, Mark, again for being on the session and explaining everything so comprehensively, which is very, very helpful to our community.
Thank you for having me, Vikas. I appreciate it.